everybody. Welcome to our May TUG event. We are just a week out of Tableau conference, which was over in San Diego this year. It was Tuesday to Thursday last week. Loads of people went from the Tableau community. Steve and I did not. We stayed at home, but we watched it all on Salesforce Plus. And there'll be a link where you can watch those. There was lots of live sessions, but being in San Diego, did have a bit of a topsy-turvy week with watching a lot of sessions in the evening. But there is a lot of sessions that were filmed and that are now available on demand. So do check those out. Your host today is me, Charlotte, and Steve, who is the other person that's on camera at the moment. And we also have our co-hosts, our co-leaders, Rowan and Sarah, who can't be with us today. We always kick off with some user groups that we think you'll love. So we've got our UK user groups here. So we have got the London Tableau user group, which is by far one of the biggest and actually one of the original ones. Atlanta and the UK TUG, as it was known back then, now rebranded as the London TUG, were the first two TUGs to ever get going. We've got the Scotland TUG, we've got the Northeast Tableau user group, we've got the Northwest Tableau user group, and if you want to know more about that, hit Ella up because she's the leader of it. And we've got the Data Plus Women in London, and I think they've got a session next week if you want to get to that. Virtual user groups that we think you'll love. We've got the Tableau Analytics user group. I think it's the biggest user group, or is the newbies the biggest user group? Either way, two massive user groups, the Analytics and the newbies. And just the newbies isn't necessarily, it is for newbies, but there is always something that everyone can learn. So a good one to go to, no matter your skill level. There is the Accessibility Tableau user group, which is great for understanding accessibility needs. And the relatively new AI and Tableau user group, which is a very interesting user group exploring the use of AI. And if you want to join any of those user groups or just want to have a peruse at what's on, you can do so via this QR code there. I'll leave it up for a moment. This will take you to the chapter pages, so you can see all of the different user group chapters that are around the world. Some are virtual, hybrid, and in person, all there for you to choose from. And then there is also, I think along the top, there's a little menu item for upcoming events. So you can also go and look at any events that are upcoming in your area or in your time zone if you're watching virtually. So I do recommend joining other TUGs beside ours as well, because you get such a range of knowledge and information from everybody. There is the Tableau community on Slack. That's where we all hang out. That's where we all ask questions, share ideas, and we see cool vizzes and things. So if you are on Slack, or if you can get access to Slack, I recommend scanning this QR code now to get your invite to the Tableau community on Slack. Oh, Chris, you put this in. This wasn't mine.
No, I did bung the
Steve's put this in. So we've got our June TUG is all about careers. Now we know that the NHS is undergoing quite a few changes career-wise for a lot of us, myself included. We have got a panel of speakers still to be confirmed, but they are this close to being confirmed, that will come and speak to us about careers. So we'll have a few questions led by myself, and then we will head on to your questions, and we can see what's what with careers and career advice for everybody. TC roundup, but Steve says he's not going first. He says I'm going first. So here we are.
And take your time, Charlotte, take your time.
I will try my best. Okay, so I've called my session Tip Tip Hooray, and I hope that you will all be hurraying afterwards when I've finished. If you do want to catch up on any of the sessions that were filmed during TC last week, you can scan this QR code and that will take you to Salesforce Plus, which will host all of the on-demand videos. I don't think you need a separate login. If you've got a Tableau login, you just need that. So the tips that I'm sharing from, there were 5 tip sessions that were recorded this year. We got double trouble with the Flurledge twins, and not just that, we got 2 sessions from them, so quadruple Flurledge maybe. So they did a quick at desk interview where they gave us some tips, and they did that larger how to do cool stuff in Tableau keynote. We also had 3 other tip type sessions. One, risky business, the Tableau tip battle, which sees Tableau community members battle each other in a tournament style in a tournament, to see who would be crowned the ultimate tipper of the conference. And we had speed tipping. Speed tipping is a long standing feature of Tableau conference and of DataFam Europe now as well. And this year saw the return of the GOATs, the greatest of all times, the original speed tippers, Jeff Schaefer and Andy Kriebel. I watched this session and I counted 42 tips, I believe. So it goes very fast. I watched it again and slowed it down, and and so it's really, really great session. But that is enough of those. That was my last slide. Yep. I'm going to stop sharing that screen, and I'm going to start sharing the monitor in front of me to do my tips. As I said, I am not in my comfort zone doing technical demonstrations. So this is just, I volunteered to do this so that I could just push myself a little bit. So please do be kind. I hope that you enjoy what I have to show you. So hopefully you can see my Tableau screen. So I've just got Tableau set up with Superstore data. So I'm not using any data other than Superstore data, which comes pre-built into your Tableau instance. So bands, we love a big KPI number, a big aggregated number in the NHS, but we do not like, oh gosh, when you can click on them and this horrible blue thing comes up, because if we click, we think it does something, don't we? And this just doesn't do anything other than make it blue. So how to fix it? The Flurledge twins gave us 2 options to fix it. The first is to change the mark type from automatic to shape. So what we do is we take our sum of sales. No, we don't. We come up to the marks type here and we change it to be a shape. And we'll see this puts a circle on here, which is, you can still kind of click it. It's not really that great. But what we now have on the mark shelf is the shape icon. So we can go and select more shapes. We come down here. I've got quite a lot of custom shapes built in here, and transparent shapes will be a custom edition, but you can download transparent shapes from the Flurledge twins if you just Google Flurledge twins transparent shapes Tableau, or you can create your own in PowerPoint and save them. And if anybody in the comments wants to know how to do that, just say yes please, and I will show you how to add shapes into your Tableau repository at the end. So yes, we've got our transparent shapes here, and there's obviously nothing there because they're all transparent, so we'll just click on one and go OK. That shape disappears, as does all of the there's nothing there that you can click now. So that is fantastic. No more blue square. So we've got this lovely thing here. Oh, that's just showing it's fixed. Second fix is to pop it in a caption, which might sound a little bit odd, but that's what we're going to do anyway. So if I come back to my fixed one here, all I do is go to my label, go to text, and what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to copy this, I'm going to cut it. So Control and X to cut it, apply and go away. So that takes it out of there. But you'll see that the sum of sales is still on the marks card, still on label, so I can still use it. And I'm going to come up to worksheet. I'm going to select show caption, double click in there, highlight what's there and replace it with what I've just cut from the label shelf. Click, just center it up and whatnot, click apply, and then it appears in our caption down at the bottom. When we come onto our, put it onto a dashboard, it will usually come on with the title on already, which isn't, we don't want that really. So all you've got to do is, if I take that off now, bring that onto here, you can see where it is there. Not very nice. Am I using the right one? Yeah, I think so. Remove the title. I don't think I'm using the right one. I remembered what I didn't do. So you got to make the caption come on on the thingy. So bring the tile, so your second fix, onto the dashboard. Come to the little drop down menu, select to show the caption. Your ban appears. Turn off the title and a little bit of resizing, and you've got your ban on your dashboard. So there's 2 fixes for making the ban, not clickable with that horrible blue. You may have noticed that on my bans, they're not formatted in any shape, in any way. They've not got their pound sign in front of them or their dollar sign, as this should be. So how do I do that without having to go back and change all of these bans that I've just created? But also I've got a few other things on here that are also probably going to be money. So I've got the sales, I've got the profit, and I've got the discount that all need to be formatted as currency. So how to do that in one fell swoop for all 3 is I'm going to select sales, I'm going to hold down the control key, and then I'm going to select profit also. And then it doesn't matter which one I click on the little downward arrow. We can go to default properties, and we can go to number format, and we can change it to currency, and we will change it to put the dollar sign in front of there because Superstore is American. I can change it to no decimal places, etc. And now it's changed on all my sheets. It's updated on all of the sheets that I've just made, and profit is also, if I bring profit into here too, you'll see profit there has the dollar sign in front of it also. So that is how you can change your default properties by multi-selecting items in your data pane. Switching data sources now, I'm going to give you a sneak preview of what to expect from the on-demand service, and I'm going to let Kevin explain how to do this. So hoping that this works. Got it queued up in the right place. No, I knew it would do that. It's gone back to the beginning. But luckily I noted down exactly when I wanted it to start. Can you hear that sound coming through?
I didn't hear any sound at the moment, Charlotte. It's on
Okay,
pause at the moment.
Stop sharing and make sure include sound. There we go. Okay, dokie.
International Data Fam, let's take a look.
Yes.
Okay, we have this dashboard here, and the goal here is we need to replace the data source with a new data source. It's in the same exact structure, same field name, same data types, but we just need to update it with a new file. So let's go here. We see here in the logical layer, we have this Superstore data with targets, Excel spreadsheet. We're going to replace it with a different one, Superstore data with targets 2. Great name. Let's double click that. Now we have this selected. Let's take this sheet and drag it over top of this in the logical layer and see what happens. All right, and I see lots of red. Let's go back to the dashboard and see what it looks like. Everything appears to be broken, and there's red literally everywhere. So that's not good. Let's back this up and try something different. All right, it's back to where it was. Instead of doing it in the logical layer, let's try double clicking here to go to the physical layer. And then let's do this replace. We'll just drag that right on top. Oh, things look good. Let's go to the dashboard. Everything looks like it's good. We go to the sheet, nothing broken, no red. So the trick here is if you need to replace a data source, don't do it in the logical layer. Seems like it breaks every time, turns everything red. Go to the physical layer and make that replacement.
Another great one. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, so that tip, basically why I really love that tip is we were always swapping out data sources from when you move from maybe dev to production and things like that, and then everything kind of just breaks and goes a bit bad. But if you go into the data pane and swap your data sources out, not at a logical layer, but at the physical layer, that really will help maintain everything in your dashboard, and it will just go more smoothly. This was a really cool tip from Jeff Schaefer, how to create a quick LOD. So LOD are the ones with the curly brackets. That scares some people, but you don't need to be scared anymore, because Jeff shows us how to create one with just a few clicks. So with your handy control key held down again, I'm going to select sales, and I'm going to pop that over, I don't know, category. Go, and you'll see down here I've now got a calculated fields that says sales category. If I go to edit that, you'll see it's created that fixed LOD for me. So just a nice quick way to create a fixed LOD. Bar chart no axis. This was from Andy Kriebel. If you don't want that pesky access there, let's fix that by, we'll take our sum of sales, and instead of putting it on the column shelf, I'm going to move it to the size shelf. And yeah, that looks a bit crap. So let's move that to bar, change the mark to bar, make this a little bit bigger. And there we have a bar chart with no axis. And if, of course, if you want to see the numbers, you can always turn the label on and that will pop the numbers wherever you want them around the bar. So that is a bar chart no axis. Bar chart with an average line. So this has a few tips in it. So to create an average line, we come up into the analytics, and you can either drag your analytics to here, and there we've got a lovely axis line, or did you know you can just double click it and then you've got an average line. So that's nice and easy. And if you decide, oh gosh, I really don't want that average line, you could click there and remove it, or you can just pick it up and drag it off. So a few quick little average line tips there. Now, if we want to color and code these bar charts based on our average line, we can do that. So I have one I prepared earlier. Where I've done it. So I've just got a really quick calculation, which is just taking the sum of sales minus the average. And we will pop that onto color, and you'll see it gives me this diverging color chart, which I don't really want, but yeah, blue is over the average and the orange is below the average. But what if I want just a nice simple little boolean here? Andy introduced us to the sign function. Now I'm not going to go, I'm not going to pretend to understand the mathematics behind this, but if you wrap that above or below average calc in sign, then you get a boolean. So if we take above or below, and here's another tip, did you know that you can just swap things out by just popping them over? So what all I did there, so if I wanted to do that again, I would have to take that off, put that on, take that off, put that on, or we can just hover over. And that quickly changes, and you could do it up here as well if I didn't want the subcategory up here. If I wanted to change that to say region, just pop that over there and it changes to region. So that's just another little a little insight, I don't know, a little bonus tip there for you. So now you'll see I've got this boolean -1 and 1. And we can also just change that to be discrete. At the moment, if we want to change this color, it's again doing this diverging color palette. But if we want a little bit more control over it, Andy simply says to change it to discrete, and then you have more color choice color options to do that. And I don't know about you, but here's another little tip that's from me actually. I don't know anybody that does this but me, but I hate the cards coming over here, and the filter cards come over there too. So when you put a filter on, let's just apply. I really I don't know why it annoys me, but it annoys me that they are always over here. So you can pick these up. You can pick anything up. You can pick these up, and you can move them around. So you can like customize it. And I prefer them over there because then it makes my canvas bigger. So yeah, I tend to stack everything over there. But you can do whatever you want. You can pop that there. You know, you can move your page around and customize how your page looks to your heart content. You know, you do you when with your workbook. Was that everything? Yes, that was everything to do with average lines with a bit of divergence into organizing your workspace. Create a parameter list with a range. Now let's see if I remember how to do this, because I didn't write. You'll see that it's not formatted at the top. This one went in last minute. You might want to create a parameter that has maybe like a list of like 1 to 100, and you can pick 1 to 100 or whatever. And what you really don't want to have to do is come here and type out 1 to 100, because that is like boring and going to take forever. So let's remove those. Instead of creating a list, I'm going to go and create a range and say the minimum is 1, the maximum is 100. I'm going to say OK, and then when I come back into this parameter and edit it, I'm going to change it to a list. Oh, it's not done it. Oh, step size. I need the step size in. I apologize. And there it's got your list of easy 1 to 100. So you can add them in as a range and then change them to be a list. And then when you go and show your parameter, and I'm going to move it over here because that's where I like it, I've got my list of 1 to 100. Scatter plot drop lines. So here I have a scatter plot. And what I'm going to do is right click on a point, come down to this drop lines and say show drop lines. And you'll see it's made a drop line that goes across to profit and one down to sales, which is really nice. What I can also do is then edit the drop line to add the labels. I've got that automatic labeling there, so I can now perhaps, if I wanted to, remove the headers, and that just maybe gives you a little bit of a nicer visualization whilst still maintaining the numerics for when you want them. So here's a bunch of tips to navigate Tableau workbooks. So sorting options. Let's go to sorting options first. So here I just have a simple sales by state, and there are numerous ways to sort this. You can sort on the numeric axis down here by clicking the little button, and you can sort that way, or you can come up here, find it there as well, and sort up here as well. Just put it back. There is also sorting up here on the taskbar. So lots of different ways to sort. You can also, the fourth way to sort is coming up to the state or province, clicking on here and going to sort, and this is where you can sort a little bit more detailed, because you can sort it in data source order, which by the looks of it is just alphabetical. You can sort it, there you go, you've got another alphabetical order. You can sort it by field, so whatever field you have, you can sort it by, we can sort it by profit if we wish to. So you can sort it by whatever field is in your data pane, numeric field is in your data pane. So we can sort by anything, even though it's showing sales on the view, we can sort it by profit, just by sorting by field, or we can manually sort it by just moving around all of our names here. So there are 4 different sort options. We can also swap rows. So I'm just going to come back to this sheet for one. There's this button up here that really quickly just lets you swap from a bar to a column and back again, depending on whatever you wish. Did you know that you can also clear the worksheet? So if I'm like, oh God, this is awful, I can come up here, and instead of dragging all these things off, I can just reset the worksheet by clicking clear worksheet, and then it is all cleared and sorted. We had a good tip from Jeff, which was if you don't like how this is sorted in data source, so we've got the people, the returns, the orders. These are 3 different data sources that are put together. If you don't like that, you can click on this little drop down arrow just here, and we can, you see it's grouped by data source table. We can group by folder, and this is more of a sort of a classic view that you might remember if you go back with your Tableau far enough. This is sort of how it used to look, and you can obviously switch back again to have it however you want it. A really good one that I like using. This one's from Andy Kriebel. We've got order date here, so I can drag order date onto columns, and you see it always will default to the highest. It will always default to the year, and then if I wanted to go down, I could scroll out through the hierarchy, or I could come in here and then pick whichever I wanted here. So say I wanted to go with the months. I've got them just there. Or you can right click with your mouse, right click on order date, hold your right click down as you drag it up to columns or rows, and now you get a whole bunch of options about what you want to do. So let's just pick here. And so yeah, that's just a little quick way to get your date up there exactly how you want it. And that is all I have, Steve. I'm sorry I did that really quickly.
Not at all. I enjoyed that. I'm going to add one very small tip at the very end. If you enjoyed that, throw something in the chat and let us know. Thank you very much. My additional very small tip, simplistically, is we all love tips, right? We love every time you see tips, you learn something and you remember something you've forgotten all about. So my small tip simplistically is, if you are having a meeting with other Tableau devs, why not kick it off or finish it up with a small tips battle or small tips run in the first place? Because you show some stuff there which I was slapping myself on the forehead with, not physically obviously, but you just forget what's available, don't you? So it's really good to
and that's the thing, there's a range of tips on all of these tip sessions that some are super simple, sort of basic beginner stuff that you're like, I didn't know you could do that, because there's probably 3 or 4 ways to do everything in Tableau. So it's just you start up and you're like, didn't know you could do it that way, and it's just Paul says he likes the bang thing. Cool. Cool.
And in fact, I say that exact phrase in my training sessions. I always say, look, there's at least 3 ways to do the same thing in Tableau, which is why it's so frustrating when you can't find one of them.
I hope you enjoyed those. Do go and watch more on demand, not just the tip sessions. There were some brilliant sessions that we can all enjoy and share.
Yeah. Shall I finish off?
Yes, you can do your news from the conference.
I will do my update from the conference indeed. So, the whole screen. Where is it? This is going to be a little bit dry, so I'll run through this quite quickly on the basis that you will receive this. No, that's not what I meant to do. To press that one there. And you're sharing my screen. You can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, so we will send you these slides, which means you can use this as a reference. But simplistically, as Charlotte said earlier on, I think there's over 150 talks and presentations which will be on demand. So all I'm going to do is run through some featured sessions with a little bit of a breakdown so that you will know whether or not it's worth your time actually looking and watching those sessions. I'm not sure how long they all are. Most of them are pretty much 20 minutes, but some of the key ones were longer than that. So one of my recommendations, or our recommendations, even though I run through most of this, so I blame me if there's anything you don't like, was from Fraser Gallup. Fraser runs his own Tableau consultancy over in the US, I believe. I've always enjoyed his speeches. This one was about KPI cards, so key performance indicators. Simplistically, we use them, probably not enough in my opinion. It's important to have that stacking of a number field as well as a trend. What he does in this particular presentation is looks at some tips to present key performance indicators. One of them I really like the concept of, and that's the second bullet point there, which is that when we color things about things being under or below all the time, it basically means everything's got a color. And that all of a sudden what you're doing is you're distracting from what really matters. Okay, so his suggestion is that you take a percentage limiter. In his case, he's suggesting 5%. So if you're outside of 5% of a goal, then you're going to show an alarm, whether it's a good or a positive alarm, but you don't not really having any false alarms going on. And he presented 18 KPIs in a 6x3 grid, looking at various different key performance indicators. And his overall view was that you're getting from this presentation a complete KPI dashboard framework that any desktop user can build today. So that's quite a useful session if you're into key performance indicators, or rather, if you're not into them, you might discover why you should be. This session was all about performance, start the weight, a guide to high performance. And just for anybody that does want to watch any of these, the title at the very top here is the exact title of the video on demand. So you can use that in the search button. Charlotte gave you the QR code earlier on. I'll show you the link later on as well. So if you go to there, you go onto the on demand or the all sessions, you can type into the search and you can find any of these. This particular presentation, if you've got slow performance, if you followed all of these tips basically helped one of their users, their customers of Tableau, improve their server performance stats by 45%. That's a hell of a lot if you think about it. Most of the complaints we get is the fact that when you've got a really good dashboard, it takes too long to load. Performance is not the single toggle you can just flip. You need to go through all these different things. But if you've got a slow performing dashboard, people are going to remember that bit more than all the insights they should be getting from the dashboard. So it really is quite important. They went through bottlenecks in order. So the workbook design, calculations themselves, the queries under the hood, data, and the whole environment. Some of the hot tips I just pulled out of there is that marks matter more than the sheet count. So 50,000 marks on a dashboard is much more of a problem than, for example, having 50 sheets on a dashboard. They also run through some of the inbuilt checks you can do, such as running the optimizer, etc., etc. So, as I said, I mean, if performance has been a bit of an issue for you, then that's definitely a must-see for you. And then I pulled out one from Sean Miller. Now, Sean Miller goes by the name of Hipster Viz Ninja. If you're into hashtags, you will find him. He is a Tableau principal consultant. He has also been contributing to the Workout Wednesday program for quite a long time. So what he's done, I think it's 9 years he's been doing that. So he pulled out his top 5 learnings from doing Workout Wednesday over the last 9 years. So that already is a bit of a hot win. I've summarized them here, but of course you're not going to really understand the real tip until you actually watch it live. But for example, he's picked out how you can use window max to identify something above or below, so the end neighbor. So for example, if you want to pick out something that you want to analyze, let's say a treatment or something like that, and you want to know what the length of stay is by those different treatments, you can zone in on that particular one treatment, and then you can look at the plus or minus 5 that rank above or below that. So you're actually zooming into a particular section. He also talks about saving styled empty layout containers as template workbooks to be able to reuse them to save time building dashboards. He talks about using one Boolean parameter control in order to actually configure all of the dynamic zones on a dashboard. dashboard, so you can switch between what you're showing and what you're not showing just with one parameter rather than playing with lots of different things. And a hot tip at the end was just to remember that a parameter doesn't belong to a dashboard, it doesn't belong to a worksheet or a data source. It actually just lives outside all of that. So that allows you to use parameters for some really useful global controls and parameterization in terms of what you can see, what you can't see, and what the impacts are across multiple dashboards, across multiple data sets. So that's a pretty good session from Sean. And then if you like listening to French accents, you're going to love listening to Maxime Beau, always massively energetic. This particular session, he dived into the concept of scaffolding. And scaffolding tends to scare people when we talk about data scaffolding, concept in terms of what you want to use it for and why you might use it, but then how do you do that? So Maxime went from the very basics. In this case, he's actually using a simple unioning three different pieces together to get a scaffold table and allowing you to do some pretty cool stuff. So for example, and I use this technique myself quite recently, building a bridge chart or a waterfall chart. You can build a waterfall quite easily, but what you can't do very simply is have the beginning, the middle and the end parts of that bridge easily embedded within the same visualization. You have to build it across multiple worksheets, which gets really quite messy. But using a scaffolding approach allows you to do exactly what you want to do. So you can bridge between, for example, last year scenario, your plan scenario, and your actual result scenario. We can actually see each of those different pieces and how we bridge between those two. So that's a really useful session. And his overall concept, and you may have heard it before from the Flurlish twins, is that Tableau is just about your X and your Y. So it's really just about using and painting your data, but understanding how you just move your X and your Y coordinates around to get exactly what you want. So in this particular presentation, he ran through bridge charts, but also Sankey's and radial layouts as well. One for the admins. This was quite an interesting one. I don't know how many admins we've gotten here, but this was from Paul Moran, who's from Tableau. He's based over in Dublin. Dedicated setups in terms of increasing your load speed, looking at various node runs, making sure you got your VisQL service set up properly, and think about Tableau as not being just a set it and forget it tool, which is, I think, one of the concepts that some organizations do leave it as. They set it up at the beginning and then they'll walk away from it. Actually, it needs constant tuning, but also constant improvement in terms of understanding how people are really using it as well. So I thought that was really quite a useful session for the Tableau admins. This one is from some Salesforce employees, Jimmy Bowen, Jack Hefferman, and Nicole Sala. It's about making dashboards at scale, design, performance, as well as people. So there's a few interesting tips, hard one, enterprise lessons directly applicable to any Tableau server team as well. But also from a design perspective. So for example, just simplistically, one color should mean one thing everywhere, not just on a single chart or on a dashboard even, but across multiple dashboards within a pad. So if red's going to mean below target, then let's make it only mean red equals low target across all those objects. Why? Because otherwise your user just gets really confused and have to keep thinking and looking at legends and understanding what's going on elsewhere. So there's a lot of useful tips in that session. Charlotte's already stolen some of the best bits from this one, I believe. I didn't realise she was going to, so I put this in here as well. 10 tips for better vizzes.
I don't think I did those ones. That's
Oh,
fine.
you didn't do those ones, but you did actually look at. Okay, so this is definitely a cool one. Rounded bars, dual axis, circle marks, sparkline, and dots using some table calculations. Some of my favourite ones are the helper calculations, such as the last one, for example, here. So some cool little tips in there as well. This one was secure and scalable, mastering user management with Tableau. So this is from a Salesforce employee, Lokesh Trathi, just introducing the fact that Skim is now live on Tableau server. So that allows you to fully integrate any user management system that you have outside of Tableau and inside of Tableau. What that means in practice is if somebody comes in, to your organization and they're assigned a particular role, they will automatically or could automatically get updated in terms of what they can access on the server. And likewise, if they leave the organization or they leave that part of the organization, that will also dynamically update it as well. It mentions that you need an on-prem agent required. Don't worry, that's not AI. That's just like a little piece of code that needs to run in order to actually sync the two tools together. I thought that might be useful again for some server admins, but more importantly, even if you're not a server admin, knowing that that exists might help you have a decent conversation with your server admins, because it is one of the big headaches in our organizations. A bit of a red flag. We talked about what we should be discussing here before doing this session, and most of it we've showed you is already available to you. This is a forward-looking piece of information, but it is absolutely critical that you understand that this is coming, because this can change your world in terms of being a dashboard designer as well as being a Tableau administrator. And that is the concept of composable data sources. Not compostable, apparently, it's composable. And what that simply means is that when you're creating a new data source, you can reference a data source which has already been published on the server as being one of the source systems. So what that really means is we don't need blends anymore. And what it really means is that we should be able to reduce significant numbers of unused extracts or minimally used extracts. And overall, we should be able to stop rebuilding stuff and start reusing data sources rather than have to build them up from scratch ourselves. It's an incredibly complex piece, which is why it's taken so long to come, because it's been requested for many, many years now. But it will be available on server and cloud this year. I believe it will be available in the next release on Tableau Server. You can't take advantage of it right now. However, this is one of those things that you might want to start thinking about how you plan how that might impact your infrastructure, because there can be a lot of changes, a lot of rebuilding, which will improve performance, but also improve accessibility as well for access to the right data. Here's an interesting one you might want to think about. Here we are at the Tableau user group. Heinz Terentius, I hope I pronounced that properly. He's a BI director at Kaplan, talks you through how you could set up your own Tableau user group internally. And there's some real benefits of being able to do that. So he talked about the three legs, being speakers, the members, and the leadership team as well. All three of those are required in order to keep a user group healthy. One of the things he did, which was quite interesting, was he just templated a reach out email or connection request. So every day he would do a quick doom scroll of LinkedIn, for example, or whatever social media platform you prefer, find some vises that he liked, which were pertinent to his organization, and he just connected with the author and just said, by the way, would you like to present at our Tableau user group? So he was introducing external people in as well as actually getting internal people. So that was quite an easy win, because he was looking through that location anyway, and just inviting externals in. His advice is always, if you're going to have a Tableau user group, Charlotte, we should always have a backup session ready. I had you, so that was perfect for me. And from an internal discussion perspective, phrase this as employee engagement, because that's what's going to help you earn your executive support. It's exactly the same as actually attending other events as well. The more and big headline was, the more technical he went, the less people stayed, or less people got interested. So that was an interesting concept. We as Tableau developers, we like a little bit of techie, but not everybody in the room is looking for that. So he gives you a playbook that you can rip and replace and put into your organization, which is quite cool. If you don't know these ladies, you should. Fiona Croker and Sarah Burnett, they run a practice down under. I think they cross between Australia and New Zealand. They call it Dub Data. They do a podcast as well, actually, which you can have a look at for free anytime, where they interview quite interesting people from the community. But their presentation was about the story arc and talking you through how you can involve people in your organization in that story arc. And before you jump into it, a story arc isn't necessarily something you put in a dashboard but it is certainly the way that you put it in, the way you present that dashboard to other people in your organization. You can try and build it in if you want to as well. But the whole point of a story arc is you start from the hook, getting people interested, you then walk them through the problem, you find the insight in your data, you present the solution and the result that you can get from that, and also pass on any learning and any specific calls to action that people need to make in order to actually employ and learn from that process. And one of the examples they had was just a simple reframing with one of their clients from how did we do to well, what becomes waste, helped them save an additional 672,000. Apparently, I think it says pounds there. I'm not too sure what the unit measure was. It's pretty something else. So that's a useful section to go through if you're looking at design ideas, but also engaging people in your organization around data, hence the title about data culture and turning people into data fluencers within your organization. Blake Pfizer, I don't know if I pronounce it, probably Pfizer, data viz engineer at Apple. Some design ideas. Now, this time it's around using map players, and I'm not sure if you're aware, I'm sure you probably are, but map players aren't just about maps. There's lots of ways we can trick the use of using map players to build much more specific visualizations. So Blake went through a lot of processes there. He talks about, obviously you need to turn off the map because you don't really want to see the map, but you can build specialist advanced chart types using map layers. And one of the concepts is to use something which is called null island. And null island basically is 0, 0 from a latitude, longitude point around the world. That's your starting point, and you can then start building from 0, 0 and increase latitude and longitude in different ways in order to place things exactly where you want. And he shows you examples of building things like donut charts, proper donut charts, which don't have horrible things when you hover over them, getting in the way, for example. Also heat maps. He talked about having distribution heat maps where, for example, you might want to actually know what the heat map is, but also the distribution on a horizontal and then also on the vertical columns, combining that all into one sheet again as well. So lots of really funky stuff going on, and talking about the fact that the only limit is your imagination. So those were 12 sessions, which I would strongly recommend you having a look at the summary on and diving into. I've also added another 8 just for fun as well. I'm not going to go through these in much detail because you will get the slide download anyway, but we've got speed tipping. Obviously, Charlotte did a fantastic job. There might be some other ones in there that are interesting to you. What's that, Charlotte?
There was loads.
It's quite a long session, I think, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, it was about 40 minutes.
We've also then got Rafael Guevara, usage data has your back, designing dashboards for impact. I thought that was quite good, like Rafael Guevara a lot as well. And I mentioned composable data sources. This is actually another presentation from the brilliant Kirk and Candy, another one of those marriages made in Tableau. And Kirk especially does a lot of posting and investigation around how to get the best out of composable data sources. So that's a very useful session for when that comes available to us. And then there's a brilliant piece from Jessica Bautista Gona. So this is very much aimed at people who use Tableau Public, but also are interested in understanding viz extensions. So all their viz extensions are available to use in Tableau Public completely for free. So it's a great way to sample it, get some ideas, how you might be able to use viz extensions to display and engage with data more efficiently, or perhaps just to build things more efficiently because you're going to build that anyway. So that's a really useful session from Jessica. Tableau security and admin, if you like a bit of that. You've also got some more stuff coming from Shri and Jun as well. And Ojo was talking about navigating the Tableau ecosystem. That does cover Tableau Index and CRM. So if you're not using those, probably not worth your while having a look at. But I thought I'd throw that in for a bit of fun. And Klaus Schultz, lastly, my fellow presenter a couple of years ago, actually, TC26, he's now working with apps for Tableau. So again, there's a whole bunch of extensibility, which doesn't depend upon your Tableau server version, you can bring in Tableau apps easily without updating your server. And he addresses, especially for finance people, some of the ways you can very quickly show what finance people need to do around P&L, visualizations, workflows, etc., etc. So again, very useful and short session to look at. Oh, I didn't realize there was another one. I missed this one. This is Sheets Happen. Be careful how you say that. This was from Taxina and Will, looking primarily better cloud focused because it's looking at Google Sheets integration as well. And there's a lot of extensibility coming, not just around Google, but also with Microsoft Office products as well. We saw that in the keynotes, but that's not available yet. But this session is using stuff which is already available if you've got access to it. And that was it. As I mentioned, watchable for free at Salesforce. There's a URL. You have the QR code from Charlotte as well earlier on. But as I said, for the sessions I've recommended, just copy paste the titles and put them in the search bar. And you're in.
Right, thanks, Steve. Paul asks, any work done on dynamic HTML for the URL links feature?
Sorry, that's gone straight over my head. Any work done on dynamic HTML for the URL links feature? Not that I saw, Paul. Give me some more details in the chat, and I'm more than happy to do a bit of research and find out if I can find something on that for you.
There's also the what do they call it, where we put our ideas in for Tableau to take out what we want. What do they call it? You know, we put our like dev ideas on.
Yeah, that used to be the idea, something or other, but they've moved over to Salesforce, haven't they?
It's changed something now, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, on Trailblazer.
But yeah, there might be an update on there. Okay.
Yeah, Paul, if you could put some more details in the chat, and I'll definitely make a note of it.
So while Paul is doing that, I will do our prize wheel spin. We do it every month. 3 lucky winners will receive some Tableau swag from me, but not just yet, because they are changing the Tableau store over at Tableau. So can't actually buy any at the moment, but you are all going on a list, and you will get some as soon as I have some to send out. And I know that there are some people from the last one that are still waiting, but I assure you, your names are kept and precious, as are your addresses. You will get some nice Tableau prizes sent out to you as soon as I have some. So let's have a look. Oh, I don't know why I've got an extra space there, but never mind. Let's go spin the wheel. Darren wins some swag.
Oh, I won last month. You should spin again, Charlotte.
Okie dokie, if you're sure. Darren didn't get his last month either. Jacqueline.
Oh, didn't they?
No, because I don't have any. Jacqueline, congratulations. Our next winner is Lisa. One more, because Darren has forfeited his spot. Looks like that will be Caroline. Yes. Fine. O'Donnell. If you want to, I'm just going to pop some details in the chat. If you want to send me over your postal addresses to my email address, and as soon as I have swag in stock, I shall send some over to you. So congratulations, Jacqueline, Lisa, and Caroline. Oh, all ladies winning. Whoop, whoop. Okay. So I think yeah, anything more to say on Paul's comment?
Not at the moment. What I'll do, Paul, though, is I'll look into that and I'll include some details in a follow-up email for everybody. Okay.
Super. I think we didn't think that we've actually come to time. We've finished on time. Woo.
We have finished at a little bit over time, actually. Makes a change.
So thank you everyone for joining us. As soon as I've got my panelists firmed up for our June TUG, you will hear all about it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed our feedback from the conference. Do go and watch some sessions on Salesforce Plus, but if you can't, I know that a lot of user groups quickly snap up speakers from Tableau Conference to present at their user groups. So do make sure that you check out those user groups. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Charlotte. Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
See you next time.